Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TCP View, and today I am doing the second part of the 3-part mini tutorial series on how IP addresses and port addresses work and how web browsers end up figuring out what web page they should go to from one tab to the next tab, and that way the tabs don't mix. So as far as things goes, if you haven't seen the first part, I'd suggest that you check that out. I'll have the annotation somewhere about here, and that way you can click on it and go to the thing while keeping this page open. Now, if that doesn't come up, or if you don't have the settings on and you don't want them on, I got the link below in the description. So as far as things goes, let's jump on into the second part, and this is where the big pieces come in play for the IP addresses and port addresses. So as far as the IP addresses, let's use mine as an example. My internal IP address is probably similar to most of yours, if not exact. And the internal IP address, it's on a network of 192.168.1.1. If you put in that, then if you just put in 192.168.1.1 in Chrome or Firefox, it should take you to your Wi-Fi router. You probably have to log in depending on how you have it set up, but still it should take you to the Wi-Fi router, and that way you can just do whatever on the back end. So that's pretty important to note. That's the network address, IP address. However, we need to know the host machine address because we're going to be using my computer as an example. So the network is 0.1 at the end, but the host machine is 0.10. Very important. And let's compare this to the postal system, sending some piece of mail. What do you need to know? You need to know several things. For the United States, let's just use that as an example, you need to know the state. Since it's going to be sent in the same country, we don't need to put that. You need, and I'm pretty sure like in Europe, you need to put the country. I'm not really sure since I've never really been there. Really want to go there, but anyways, for United States, you need to know the state, the zip code, the street, and the street address, and lastly, who the mail is intended for, so the person. So as far as this goes, the 192.168.1.1, that's the whole thing without the person. However, this first part, the 3-part 192.168.1, is basically the state, the zip code, and maybe the street, but not the street address. The street address is the last thing. So for this, it's 10. If our host machine was 20, then with 20, then whatever. So for this case, it's 10. But we still don't know who the mail is the 10 for. So we got to figure that one out. So to be absolutely clear, this is the IP address. Anything after that, it's going to be the port number or port address. Sorry about that. Now, as far as things goes, I have 2 tabs open for Firefox. Same page, but still it's 2 tabs, and that's considered as browsing to web pages. So how does it not confuse these? And you can probably give better examples than I can, but how do they not confuse these? Well, it's pretty simple. They basically assign a port address per tab and per communication. So basically, when you open up a new tab, it just gives it a new port number as far as each one of these. So as far as this goes, let's just do this for example. What you might see is something like 1, the IP address 1, or more commonly 80. something like that, and that's the port. So just pulling up this real quick. It was just called a TCP View, and I'll try to look it up. I don't know where I got this from. I think I got it from school, and I'll try to find it, or you can get it if you want. But basically, if you look at this of Firefox, we can look at this 192.168.1.10. Again, this is addressing to my computer. So the host, the network itself, then the host machine, which is this. Then you have the port of 49880. So basically, an application is under that port, and with the remote address, you have 192.241.187.236 with a port address of 443, and that's just whatever it's communicating to. Now, one thing you're going to hear me say possibly once in a while is a socket. And what is a socket? A socket is basically an IP address plus the port. So it's the whole thing. So we got two sockets, a local address socket and a remote address socket. Now, one thing I want you to notice is the amount of sockets, and stuff's coming and going. You've seen the red means it haven't used it so long that it's just taken away. Let's refresh this page, and you'll see that based on one refresh, we got a bunch of sockets. Each line is a communication. Now, basically, what's happening is each item, somewhere within there on that page, it's requiring a communication line. Let's go to techreviewsandhelp.com. As you see here, we got a load of sockets, and the reason why I came to this site is because I own it and I know what the chances of what each socket is. So as far as things goes, we got multiple items. We got a socket over here as to communicate from the website itself to the YouTube, and that way you can actually just play the videos, the YouTube videos on here. It has a socket on several other places. Now, one thing to note is this only happens, each is a communication string, and the items, like for example this YouTube deal right here, it requires its own communication string. The Facebook, PayPal, see if I can find something else. Oh, and advertisements once in a while. Things like that. So basically, each thing that requires the communication string has its own socket, its own line. Now, one thing I want you to look at is the ports. Some of the ports are what's called a well-known port. 443 is a HTTPS port. As you can see here, again, this is called a well-known port. Pretty much anything on this list, and I will have this list in the description below. Now, as far as port 80, that's also a very common one. You're going to see something like this once in a while. Is port 80 TCP HTTP, and then port 80 UDP HTTP. Basically, what we're looking at is the UDP, and the port 80 also uses TCP, and port 80 TCP at layer 4 is primarily used for the web. So, some odd ports on here, try to find real quick, is Xbox Live port, Call of Duty port. There's odd ones. Galaxy server. I think there's Apple. There's Post Office, and so on and so on. There's quite a few, and it's kind of cool. I suggest that you take a look at this. I'll have a link below, and you can take a look at this. It's just a Wikipedia page that's pretty accurate. So doing a quick refresh on this. One quick thing before I get into the summary. These are not IPv6. I don't think I got IPv6 up. IPv6 addresses are expressed by hexadecimal characters. IPv6 is not secure in most cases. But as far as things goes, that's pretty much about it. And if you do run this, uncheck this, resolve addresses. In other words, you're going to see something else. But anyways, doing a quick summary on what we just talked about is how the browser, Chrome, Firefox, and others, knows which web page they should show per which deal, and what when you have a communication line, for example, with the Tech Views and Help stuff, where you got the YouTube right here, and how it gains that information. Because as far as this goes, this text is not going to change. None of this text is going to change, and it doesn't need a communication string. But this text might change. That text and your outcome will definitely change. Some of this other stuff will definitely change. So you're going to need a communication string. And so that's what we pretty much talked about. So as far as that goes, basically it uses a IP address. After the IP address, it uses a port. Each tab has its own port number, and then if it has a communication string, like for example the YouTube, it has its own separate port numbers within the deal. So anyways, as far as that goes, this has been Craig Bennett, founder and owner of Tech Views and Help. Please check out part 1 if you hadn't. Please check out part 3 again if you hadn't. If this has helped you, then please leave a like, please subscribe, and please share. And if you have any questions, obviously leave them below, and I'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. And hope you have a great day, and please visit techviewsandhelp.com.